Hey dancers, welcome back to Broche Banter. I'm your host, Julie. Today I want to talk a bit about blind spots that adult learners often have when learning ballet. These are things that you didn't expect to find out or to even learn about when you're learning ballet, but they are really important parts of really making progress in your ballet journey. First of all, there's a big myth about a linear path of learning ballet. This would be great. Would be great if learning was a linear path, but learning is very up and down, very messy, very back and forth. And honestly, no two adults learn ballet in the same order, in the same way. Every adult has their own goals and history that they're coming with, and so every person is learning in a different way. Life really takes us all in a different path, and so our learning path through ballet is going to be very, very different. We often expect it to be linear. We think that life is linear. I mean, we think that just because we went to school in a certain way that things are linear throughout our life and everything we learn is that way, but truly it is not linear at all. It's very circular. I've talked about this circle and the layers in the past, that it's more of a circular process than it is a linear process, circling around the same concepts but at a higher level each time. It's much different than a linear path. And I think when adults get into ballet thinking it's going to be linear, that you just get started and then in a year you land your first pirouette, and then in 2 years you get your first point shoes, and then in 3 years you can do jumps with beats, and then in 4 years you can do this. It's really not like that. It's very, very different. It's up and down. It's nothing for a while, and then all of a sudden a big leap up in level. It is sometimes up and sometimes you go backwards. Sometimes you feel like you're going backwards, even if you're not going backwards. It is really, truly an all over the place type of experience. So when you're working on something like your ballet technique, your journey to point, your first pirouette, these things take a lot of time, a lot of experimenting, and a lot of testing different things. That is not something you can tell how long it's going to take. Like if you asked a scientist, how long will it take to find the answer to a hypothesis, or how long will it take to do your experiment? They don't know. Partly it's exploratory, and how long it will take depends on what you find out and how you adjust and what you do from there and how all of this goes. And so much of ballet, I know it can seem really black and white and really linear from the outside looking in. Like we have these cute little syllabus and we have year 1, year 2, year 3 with the kids that we see, but really it's more like a science experiment. It's much more experimental and exploratory and discovery based than it is a linear step-by-step path. Every person's body is different, and every person has to do their own work of figuring out how their body works. Our bodies have a user manual, but nobody gave it to us. Nobody else has the manual. Only we can discover it from the inside up, but we have to play and look and try, and that is not linear. We do not know how long it will take. We do not know the exact steps from A to Z for any given person. That's not to say that there aren't things that work in general for people, and how the training process works is generally, we have ways to train people, right? But how long it takes and the linearness of it is often not what we expect when we first get started. I think one more point on this before I move on. Oftentimes in ballet, people will come to ballet with a very specific goal, and they'll end up with a ton of micro goals along the way that they never thought they would care about. Like they come in wanting to be graceful, and suddenly they're like obsessed with how straight their legs are, or the placement of their shoulder blades, or how their face looks when they're dancing, or whatever tiny micro thing. I'm sure you have all kinds of like little micro goals that apply to only you, right? Like your left hip twists more than your right, so you're always working on that little thing, or your right elbow is down more than your left, so you're always working on that. It's kind of funny how we usually come in with this idea of what we're looking for, and then ballet actually shows us that there's so many other really more interesting things to work on than what we initially thought we were coming to ballet for. Number 2, the mirror is not neutral. Okay, the mirror is a useful tool to help you map what you feel to what you see. Our bodies and our patterns are so invisible to us as adults. They're a total blind spot of how you move, how you gesture, how you walk, how you breathe, how you stand. All of these things are completely blind to you. I think what makes like an impressionist comedian hilarious is when they can pick up on these little mannerisms of a person and make fun of them or like make light of it, right? It is so funny when an impressionist can pick up on these invisible things, because even when you're looking at a person, it's actually really hard to tell what are the mannerisms that make them them, right? It's hard to tell even from the outside looking in, much less me. I don't think I could tell you the things I do that make me me. Like I don't even think I could do an impression of myself, right? We're blind to our natural way of existing. The mirror can help us see some of those things and map what we think we're doing to what we're actually doing. But the mirror, as I said, is not neutral. The mirror is layered and colored with all of our own expectations, with our own ideas of how we look. If you're feeling really down on yourself or you're feeling really good about yourself, you're going to look different in the mirror to yourself in those different circumstances. Like if you go into class wearing an outfit that makes you feel really good, you might be less critical of your technique than if you're in class and you aren't feeling so good about yourself in that particular moment. So the mirror is colored with your feelings of that particular moment. I find, while it can be brutal, I find video to be in some ways more helpful than the mirror because you can look at it while you're not feeling what's happening in the moment. Because in the moment, if you're exhausted, the mirror, as you're looking back at yourself in real time, you're feeling exhausted and you're seeing what's happening in the mirror. But later, if you're watching on video, you're not feeling exhausted anymore because you're resting. And then you're watching the video from the past and you can see more clearly what was going on because you have some distance from it. When you're looking at that mirror in real time, you feel like it's telling the truth because you're looking at it and you feel like your eyes tell you the truth, but they don't always. They tell you the truth colored with your perception of what's going on. And like I said, we are blind to ourselves. If your teacher is saying stop twisting your hips, it is so hard to see that in yourself. Even if you're looking at the mirror, it is so hard to see what's going on. So it really takes a very trained eye, and train your own eye. Train your own eye when you really start making progress is when you can self-correct. Train your own eye to see in the mirror the invisible things that you do that you're trying to fix. So the little movements of your body, the little fidgets, the things that feel like nothing to you, but they look like they change your ballet technique. Those little things are what you're trying to spot in the mirror and trying to use the mirror for. The other thing the mirror is great for is like you feel like you're standing up straight. But for most of us, straight, quote unquote, is one of those things that we're blind to. Almost nobody stands up straight by default unless you've been trained to stand up straight in your youth or you've been trained to hold your body in a very, very straight way. So as you think you're straight, a lot of times that means you're actually back, or that means you're actually forward or slightly leaning to the side, but in your head you feel like you're straight. The mirror can help you redefine the word straight so that you can think to yourself, stand up straight, and then it's actually ballet straight, not just what you feel like is straight. So the mirror can help you map what's actually happening to what you feel like is happening. That's a lot to do with the word proprioception, which I know I talk about a lot, but it is a big word for adult learners. That proprioception is helping us see the things that we're blind to, helping your brain understand what's happening in space and actually map the feeling to the truth of what's going on. So don't be deceived by that mirror. If you're looking at the mirror, it's not always telling you the truth. It is a helpful tool, but take it as that, a tool, not a source of truth or fact about anything. It is really how you look at yourself, how you perceive yourself, that's going to make the biggest difference in how you use the mirror to help you or to discourage you. Hopefully you choose to use it to help you in your ballet journey. Okay, number 3, everybody walks in with a different body, obviously. But the thing that can really trip us up when we're in a ballet class with a lot of people and we start looking around the room at the other dancers, you're going to see so many different types of bodies. You're going to see things that will naturally propel people forward and things that will set people back. So in the beginning, if you're in a beginner class and you're looking around at everyone, you think, why can that person do that already, but I can't? Or this person already has that skill, but I don't have this skill. Everyone has their own totally different circumstance. If you think about how lives have diverged over 40, 50, 60 years, by the time you get to your later adulthood, your body is so different. Some people have had children, maybe C-sections. People have had car accidents, issues with their pelvis, surgeries, injuries, accidents on that side, which can really change how your body moves. Then we have the other side where you have past athletic training, past musical training, past dance training. People don't understand and realize that past childhood training actually can still make a big difference in your ability to be coordinated or to just know where your head goes. Like a lot of times beginners will say to me like, oh, the other people in my class, they just seem to know where to look, or they just seem to know what to do in these circumstances. That's not because they know what to do. That's because they've been taught this in the past, maybe many, many years ago, but it's always surprising what gets retained in somebody's mind and in their muscle memory. So yeah, they know how to do a balance by default, but that's not because it's a natural thing that a person can do, but because they have some hidden training. So when you're thinking about your own ballet, every person's body has things that they need to learn that other people maybe don't need to learn. This is hard. We're often, like I said, blind to this. These are things that we're often blind to seeing. So if you've got a leg slightly longer than the other, if you've got a shoulder that behaves slightly different than the other, if you've got a little bit of a curve in your spine in a different way. If you've got a very pronounced lower back curve, very tight lower back. If you've got an injury on one side, think back. If you had an ankle sprain when you were 12 years old that never quite healed right, all of these little things make a huge difference in what you personally need to do in order to make your ballet technique work for you. How your hips are built. If one leg is turned in more than the other, if one foot pronates more than the other, if the arches are a different shape. These are all things that you get to discover and explore about your body. We often think that our body is even from one side to the other, but it is so not. Like the right side and the left side of your body can be two completely different halves, like as if you have two totally different people living inside of your own body. So get to work, discover, oh, that's interesting. That doesn't feel the same on my right side and my left side. Oh, that's interesting. That foot is a little different shaped. Oh, that's interesting. And just start to notice these differences that we're often blind to, that we can't even see about ourselves because we're just so used to it. We're used to it. We use our right arm for this, we use our left arm for that, and we just think it's normal, and it is normal. But when you're in a ballet context and you're trying to get everything to look uniform and the same, those little differences in your body can make a big difference in how your ballet technique looks. Okay, number 4, this one is terrible, which is being imperfect, almost like as a skill. Okay, ballet unfortunately attracts a lot of people who are perfectionists or who like the idea of perfection, because ballet has this sort of like ideal line and ideal thing going on with it. But we start off ballet imperfect. And people will come to me and they'll say, I just want to get it right from the very beginning. And that's not totally possible. We all kind of have to do things wrong before we can do things right, because you can't just go from like a very complex thing from not knowing it to doing it completely perfect the first try. We have to go through those imperfect layers. We have to figure out our turnout in layers. We have to figure out our vocabulary step by step, miss the right foot, miss the left foot, do it a little bit bad to start with. We can't do anything in life or in ballet perfectly from the start. We have to be okay with those really kind of messy in between layers where we are showing up in class, we feel like we're the worst in class, we're making mistakes, we are, maybe we just went to a higher level class and now we're messing everything up again, whereas we had just at the top of our other level and now we jumped up to the next level and we feel like we're messing everything up. Being able to mess up and be imperfect is perhaps the most important skill that we need to learn. We're often blind to our own reactions to our imperfections. So sometimes some people will, when they feel that imperfection, they might start to get discouraged. They might start to not want to practice. They might start to think about, why is that person able to do it? They might start to think about other different things. But your ability to be okay with that and be imperfect for long enough to become perfect is a huge, huge, huge part of learning ballet as an adult. Really, I think it's a huge part of doing anything as an adult. Anything you start that's new, you're probably going to be bad at it to begin with. And you've got to be okay with that, because if you want to get good at it, you have to be bad at it for quite some time. It is helpful if you like what you're doing. It is helpful if you are having fun while you're doing it, because then you're more motivated to stick around for long enough, to practice for long enough to actually enjoy it and to actually get any good at it. If you are hating it and you don't have any friends in it, or you don't like what you're working on, or you don't see the point of what you're working on, it's really hard to practice for long enough to get to the other side where you actually start to feel like you're getting better at it. So it is helpful in that imperfect phase that you have fun with it, that you find ways to enjoy little bits of it. That is a huge, huge, huge part that we need to know about learning ballet, is that you will be imperfect for quite a long time before you start to feel any semblance of perfection. If you ever do, I'm pretty sure even the best pros out there don't feel like they're perfect. There's always more to do, always more to explore, and we've got to learn that that's part of the fun of it. Mastering technique isn't just about the technique itself. It's so much about the fulfillment and the joy of getting to do it and getting to see like, wow, I can do that. That is so cool. Like getting to be able to accomplish things and to have some purpose and some meaning and some mastery is so, so, so fun, so meaningful, and so purposeful for us. Okay, the 5th one, patience can often feel harder than even a pirouette. We are so used to working hard giving us results, and that being like a one-to-one mapping type of a situation. But with ballet, back to that first point about the myth of the linear progress, you can work really hard and not see any results right away. You can put in a lot of effort and it can still take time to see results, especially with some more tricky things like the beginning of getting more flexible, or landing your first pirouette, which really requires your body to reintegrate a whole new pattern and way of existing. Leaving the bar in your point shoes, you can be putting in a lot of work, but when you still feel fear and you're still feeling blocked there, it can feel like all of that work is not amounting to anything. Learning new vocabulary takes a while for your body to integrate new patterns and new things into your body. Memorizing, this takes a while to get the hang of these patterns and to work up the mental capacity and cognition to be able to memorize and pick things up on command. You can be working very hard and not see results. And then the funny thing is too, you can do not much work. For example, sometimes, you take a break for whatever, 2 weeks for whatever reason, and you come back and suddenly things are working better than before because your body just needed time to coalesce all of that into place. So that feeling of like, I'm working hard, therefore I should get exact one-to-one results is like not actually what happens in ballet. The patience of continuing to work hard without those immediate results is so important for actually getting to those results, because a lot of times you're working hard and you don't get that result for some months, maybe years. I mean, some things like memorizing takes years to get the hang of and to be able to do well, even though it looks like it should be easy, quote unquote, it should be easy. I should be able to do this by now. What age am I? I should be able to get this. Those ideas stop us from being patient. But that patience is like so important to actually getting to the other side of what you're trying to learn. A lot of people come to ballet seeking discipline, and in ballet, that discipline is more than just about physicality, but it is also about the mentality, being okay with slow progress, not second guessing yourself if the progress doesn't come. That doesn't mean we can't experiment. We can still keep our eyes open and try new things, but that progress comes in its own time, not when you want it, and not only just when you've worked really hard. It takes time to coalesce and to seep into your body and into your mind. So all this being said, I hope this has been a helpful episode about the blind spots when you're an adult learning ballet. There is so much that we need to learn about ourselves, that we need to build a self-awareness about ourselves in order to improve in ballet. The people who I see make the progress the fastest are the people who are the most reflective about their body, about their mind, about their own abilities, and that those people who are the most reflective, introspective, do the most thinking about their body and the most sort of analyzing about how they move and what they need to work on. Those people are the people who I see make the progress the most quickly. Not the people who come to the most class necessarily, but the people who really focus on building their self-awareness, trying to bring all of these blind spots to the front and center so that they can really see and address them. They say if you can't see it, once you can see it, you can fix it, right? So if your goal here is to look and see as clearly as possible, see yourself as clearly as possible. Obviously, that is so hard to do. And that is the big value of a coach or a teacher, is to see you for who you are, for what you are, and help you get to the next level. But learning how to be that self-aware and see yourself for who you are, what you want to work on, be able to see clearly where you're starting and where you want to go. That is a huge skill and ability that we want to work on to get higher and higher levels in our ballet practice. So I hope this has been helpful to break down some of the different types of blind spots that we have in our ballet journey, and to help you see what to see what to look for in yourself so that you can keep getting to where you want to go in your ballet journey. So I hope you'll keep dancing. I hope you keep choosing the long game, keep going, keep searching for those blind spots, even when they're kind of uncomfortable or inconvenient to notice. And until next time, I wish you very happy dancing.